You've selected a show from the Podcast Jukebox, a DIY podcast network.
It's Will Shawn Podcast. The internet cried out for two more blowhards, and they courageously answered that call. Armed with the weapon of wit, each week they're joined by guests to discuss movies, television, pop culture, and anything else that's pissing them off. Take it away, boys.
I'm Will Link.
And I'm Sean David.
And this is Will Shawn Podcast.
From a sunlit Italian villa during a 1990s, during a 1980s summer. How you doing, Will?
Well, I'm very excited. I've rearranged my DVDs.
You have. It was a huge and totally imperceptible change to your apartment.
And the problem is, now I have no idea what anything is.
Well, you're the only... So, for those of you who don't know, Will is a intensely meticulous and organized person, except when it comes to his DVDs, which are just willy-nilly, hurly-burly, herky-jerky, just arranged. They're just on shelves. There's vague clusters of like Woody Allen and James Bond. They're not alphabetized. They're not thematized. They're not even color coordinated. They're just come what may. And yet he knew where every single one of them was, the way like an autistic kid, you throw a bunch of marbles or jacks and he can tell you how many are on the floor. But now that you've rearranged them, the chaos has now been reshuffled?
I'm wondering if I should try to... I mean, this would be a full day project, but try to put them...
I have a meticulously alphabetized and organized library, so it can be done. The one trick is you got to leave little periodic gaps in there to make room for new things.
This is the problem.
That's why you always leave a little gap at the end of each row, and it gives you flexibility.
And this is the only reason I haven't done it.
Why?
Because I don't think I have enough room to leave gaps.
Sorry, I guess you're screwed. I just embrace the chaos. Well, you could just rearrange. You could just do this, though. You could pull out clusters and be like, you could do a couple of clusters that, like, you're not buying Wonder Wheel, so your Woody Allen collection's pretty locked in there.
Yeah.
You're not, James Bond's not spinning.
And the other question is, do I mix the Blu-rays with the regular DVDs?
What are you, crazy? Get the fuck out of here. It's like mixing meat and milk.
That's another problem.
It's trafe.
Well, what's going on in the world of Will Shawn Podcast?
I don't know what's going on. Want to continue to thank everyone for listening to the podcast. Please make sure you're subscribing. Give us a star rating on iTunes. We are on Stitcher and all the other places where podcasts are to be found. Follow us on Twitter, like us on Facebook, leave a comment, and most importantly, tell your friends. And check out the other podcasts on the Podcast Jukebox Network.
There's a new one, too.
There is? What is it?
Being There.
Okay. It's a meditation podcast?
Dick Woon's new podcast.
What's it about?
I haven't listened yet.
So do we have a slug line or anything? So Being There. All right, audience, why don't you listen and then report back to us?
He said, remember to promote the new podcast Being There. And I said, sure thing. And then I forgot what it was about. I believe it's a storytelling thing.
Sexy stories.
No. I think it's the non-kinky.
By Dick Wound.
I don't even know. Maybe he's going by his real name on it. I know nothing about it. I haven't listened yet.
That's not his Christian name?
I am both a terrible friend and terrible at promoting this. But look, it's been a long week. It's been a long life.
It's been a long couple of years.
It really has. I blame this all on the state of the nation. And who is our sponsor this week?
Dogs, for when your life isn't complicated enough.
I noticed we've each done things to complicate our lives more. I've decided to take on a second podcast, and you've decided to add a living thing to your apartment.
Yes, it is true. I have adopted a dog. His name is Finnegan Phillip, and he is hale, hearty, and generally a pretty good dog, with a couple of glaring issues, which is he is either a lump or a spaz, and he barks his head off at any other dog, so we need to figure out how to socialize him. And I don't know what the hell I'm doing when it comes to training a dog or having a dog. He's still kind of figuring his name out, so...
I didn't realize he had the last name, Finnegan Phillip.
Well, Phillip was the name they gave him at the shelter, and I just like the way the mouthfeel was for Finnegan Phillip. So, I mean, he goes by Finn.
It's not a James Joyce reasoning.
It is James Joyce reason.
Okay.
Finnegan's Wake.
Yeah.
But although now I call him Finn, and people think it's a Star Wars thing, so... Yeah. But I am going to get him a little tag that's a Star Wars Rebel Alliance tag with his name on it.
On the show today, It is one of my favorite episodes.
No guests.
No guests. We are going to tell you in a week's time from when this episode drops.
In a world.
The Oscars are going to happen. But do you want to know ahead of time who's going to win? You listen to this episode right now.
Yes, you internalize all of our ambivalence and then come to your own conclusions.
So let's just get right into it.
Let's do this.
I'm going to.
Because I got to get home to my dog.
I'm going to start with
Best Picture.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, what's crazy about this year is when we get the Best Picture. I feel that's where the bulk of this conversation is going to be because this. Do you ever remember a year where the Best Picture was this up in the air?
When Up in the Air was nominated.
But seriously.
I mean, I feel like last year it really was. I mean, there were two front runners, and it could have gone either way.
Did you really think that? Did you really think Moonlight had a chance last year? La La Land with 14 nominations.
Well, how did it turn out?
Didn't turn out well for La La Land.
Did not. This Up in the Air.
I mean, because here's the thing. I can make an argument for 3, maybe 4 of these films.
Return of the King year.
No, but like for winning this year,
Yeah.
normally it's between maybe 2.
Right. Okay. You can make a strong argument for 3, definitely, maybe 4.
Yeah. So let's start though with
Documentary, short subject.
we're not going to do all the categories.
Fine.
I mean, we can if you want.
No, I don't.
Actress in a supporting role. And the nominees are Mary J. Blige, Mudbound, Allison Janney, I, Tonya, Leslie Manville, Phantom Thread, Laurie Metcalf, Lady Bird, Octavia Spencer, The Shape of Water.
Actually, you know what? Before we start this, I was just thinking, let us spin back and talk about the voting. That you said voting started this week and is usually doesn't start this late.
Voting usually doesn't start late. Voting, because the Olympics, the Oscars decided to push back a week, which means voting didn't begin until after all the other awards, including BAFTA, which has I believe, has the second largest crossover in voting. SAG having the most.
Right. But that also means that there's been more time for people to digest some of these movies, and there's been more time for some of these narratives to play out and for some heat to die down. So
yeah.
A lot of my choices are going to be based on the fact that I think something that was burning white hot 3 weeks ago maybe not be burning quite as much.
Well, here's what's interesting, since we're starting with an acting category. This is the rare year, and we very rarely get this, where all the awards are lining up. SAG, Golden Globe, BAFTA, they're all matching with the acting categories.
Right.
And, so it's almost with a lot of the acting categories, I almost feel like it is a foregone conclusion, except for the fact there's usually at the Oscars, because the Oscars want to be a little different. I think people think about this when they vote. There's usually one surprise. With that said, I don't think I'm picking for a surprise. I think as much as I would like Laurie Metcalf to win, because I think it's the much more subtler performance, I'm going with Allison Janney.
Can't beat a tough-talking mom with a bird and a cigarette.
Oh, she's a bombastic character.
And, the worst part about this is Allison Janney is amazing and wonderful, but this role was written for her, but also it's very showy, it's very chewy, and it's a performance she could have given in her sleep, and not to detract from what she's doing, but so my theme for tonight is going to be, I think the Phantom Thread's been picking up a lot of steam, and I wouldn't be surprised if Leslie Manville, she's got some scenes that just crush the movie.
She's definitely the dark horse.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't be, you know what, if she had won BAFTA,
Yeah.
I'd be more on board with your upset
Yeah.
here. But because she didn't win at BAFTA, which seems like the logical place where she would turn up a win, and it's not like she's... Well, you know what I was about to say? It's not like she's so well known.
She's people
But
know.
Mark
actors know-
Rylance wasn't that well known compared to Stallone, you know?
Yeah, Leslie Manville's been in films for 35 years now.
But here's the other thing.
Yeah.
Allison Janney campaigns.
And she gives good speeches.
She gives good speeches. She campaigns. She is out there at every function.
Yeah, and they would probably start the show. This would be the first or second award, and we get things go off with some fireworks.
So
Allison Janney, but dark horse Leslie Manville.
Yeah. Actor in a supporting role.
Mark Rylance.
And the nominees are Willem Dafoe, The Florida Project; Woody Harrelson, 3 Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri; Richard Jenkins, The Shape of Water; Christopher Plummer, All the Money in the World; Sam Rockwell, 3 Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri.
So this is interesting because rarely does a movie get 2 nominations in the same category.
The last time that there were 2 supporting actors nominated for the same film was Bugsy.
Really?
Yep.
Was that?
I believe that was Keitel?
Who the hell was in that movie? It's a movie I saw, I enjoyed, and went right out of my head.
I believe Keitel was one of them. I can't remember.
I'll look it up. Okay, so here again we have another basically front runner for the win.
Yeah, Rockwell has been winning everywhere. And early on, I thought Dafoe might because, he's never won before. But Rockwell's also been around a long time, longer than you realize.
Hasn't Dafoe won?
Well,
No, he didn't win for
no,
Platoon. Okay.
He didn't win for Platoon. He didn't win for Shadow of a Vampire.
And also, Florida Project is a much smaller movie and didn't have the same marketing budget behind it. Fox Searchlight knows how to run these award season campaigns.
And normally I might be worried of a split because you have Woody nominated there also, and he's another guy who's never won before. But even Woody is kind of like, give it to Sam. Even he kind of knows Sam Rockwell's probably going to be the one. Sam Rockwell has the bigger arc in the story, which has been problematic, though. That's been some of the issues.
Right. And so let me ask you, because I know we're going to keep coming back to this. And I know they just took a bunch of awards at BAFTAs, but do you think there's a little 3 Billboards backlash?
This is what I've been trying to figure out, if the 3 Billboards backlash is real. And if it is, I don't think it's going to hurt it in the acting categories.
No, because
I think this is a film that actors love.
Right.
Actors love these performances. That's why Rockwell's going to win this. I don't know, and I guess we'll get into it more in Best Picture, but I think there might be enough of a backlash to hurt it in a preferential ballot situation.
Right. Okay,
However, as of recording this, tomorrow, the great Kareem Abdul-Jabbar is penning an article for The Hollywood Reporter praising 3 Billboards, which might ease some people's, am I racist? Yeah, for liking 3 Billboards. Here's the other thing. 3 Billboards.
So it'd be the greatest thing Kareem Abdul-Jabbar ever did for the white man since he won those championships with the Lakers in the 80s.
Well, I also noticed 3 Billboards plays really well for an older crowd. My mother's favorite movie of the year is 3 Billboards. My boss at work, her favorite movie is 3 Billboards.
Because it hits all it hits all the little spots in the brain. I went with my family to go see it. My parents knew nothing about it walking in. They loved it afterwards. I agree with you. It's older voters tend to embrace it a little bit more because it feels like a movie that is important and is saying things.
If he hadn't won a few years back for Beginners, Christopher Plummer would be an interesting choice here.
And anyone see that movie after all the hoopla?
I mean, I did.
You saw it 3 times. You're a maniac. You're a maniac.
I saw it twice, and then I saw a version I'm not allowed to talk about of the film.
Oh, I wonder what that version was. It's like the Caligula XXX version when Bob Guccione got his hands on it.
But Sam Rockwell, he doesn't grow, whether you feel, and I don't think his character is fully redeemed at the end. I think that's kind of a unfair, and even if he is, I don't understand. I don't think 3 Billboards is inherently about race, and maybe that's part of the problem.
Yeah, exactly.
But unlike say Crash, where Crash was inherently about race and completely tone deaf, this has a lot of other things going on about anger, and also about this about being able to let go and forgive. It has other things going on.
I don't know. This movie took place in a fantasy version of America. Might as well have been called 3 Billboards Outside of Middle Earth.
So Sam Rockwell?
Yeah.
Okay.
Dark Horse, Willem Dafoe.
Yeah, he lost a lot of steam. I would have liked to have seen him win. I'd probably vote for him if I had.
You don't think Woody's got a chance?
No, I don't
Smoking
think.
hot Australian wife.
I don't think Woody's got a chance.
Okay.
Moving on. Animated feature.
Coco, move on.
The nominees are The Boss Baby.
Yes, because he's a baby and he's a boss and he's got a little penis.
The Breadwinner.
Because he's a winner and eats bread. He's got a little penis.
Coco.
Yes.
Ferdinand.
He's a bull and he's got a big penis.
Loving Vincent.
He's got 1 year.
This is an easy call.
Coco.
Coco.
If you haven't seen Coco, go see Coco. I promise you will cry.
I saw Loving Vincent.
It's any good?
It looks beautiful, but it's not a movie, if that makes sense.
Okay.
It feels like more like a work of visual art than like a fully realized film.
So it's like the Book of Kells. Or the
Secret of
Kells. I remember when we made when the animated this category was an enemy 1 year.
Yes.
There's really not much to say.
Lego Batman. These Lego movies don't get any love at the Oscars.
Because it's called Lego Batman.
The Boss Baby.
Yeah, but at least it has the imprimatur of DreamWorks Animation. I don't know. That I could see how that gets, yanked into the nomination process. So,
moving on.
yeah.
Foreign language film.
Oof.
And the nominees are A Fantastic Woman, The Insult, Loveless, On Body and Soul, The Square. The Square,
I've seen none of these.
I've seen The Square.
Okay.
And I'm going to try to squeeze in A Fantastic Woman because I hear it's fantastic. That's what I'm going
Is Loveless,
with.
is that the Russian movie?
Loveless is the Russian film.
So that's a movie that I love that director. He made Leviathan, which if you ever want to watch an incredibly bleak and despairing 3-hour Russian film about corruption in the modern state, see Leviathan. I love this. I want to try and check out this weekend or this week. It's playing at the Laemmle.
The Square won the Palme d'Or.
Okay.
But that's never like a sign.
It's in English,
here.
isn't it? Or
No,
is it
there's
Swedish?
some sequences in English
Okay.
with Elizabeth Moss.
Okay.
But the movie is mostly in Swedish. But I feel like A Fantastic Woman.
And that's Chilean.
It's Chilean.
Yeah.
And Chile's produced a lot of great films in recent years.
Yeah, last year they had the movie about crap, I don't remember. Continue. Yeah.
The one from the guy who did Jackie also,
Yeah.
right?
But how am I fucking blanking?
Who also directed No.
Neruda. Yes.
Yes, Neruda.
Neruda. Yes. Okay. There we go.
And A Fantastic Woman, a transgendered woman,
Yeah.
who is also presenting at the Oscars this year.
Oh, interesting.
So I feel like there's enough love for A Fantastic Woman, and because of the issues it deals with, that it could. But then again, maybe the Russians hack the vote.
Exactly. And A
Loveless.
Fantastic Woman is now playing pretty predominantly in LA and New York. So I feel like, and Square came out a while ago already. So the Square, Fantastic Woman with the Square as possible runner-up.
That's what I would say.
Okay.
So obviously, The Insult will win.
Yeah. Oh, which is basically the Lebanese remake of The Slap.
Yeah. I'm going with Fantastic Woman. Adapted screenplay.
Oh, here we go.
And the nominees are Call Me By Your Name, The Disaster Artist, Logan, Molly's Game, Mudbound. Let me just start by saying I am so glad Logan is in the mix somewhere, because that was one of my favorite movies last year.
Yeah.
And I think it's one of the best superhero movies.
I think this is the type of nomination where the phrase "it's a pleasure just to be nominated" was invented.
Yes. Well, I think this is one of the real gimmies of the night.
Yeah.
And it's going to be Call Me By Your Name, written by 89-year-old James Ivory.
Has he ever won?
No. If you had put a gun to my head, I would have said James Ivory must have won an Oscar for producing something. Or
Well, he didn't produce. Ismail Merchant produced.
Oh, that's right.
directed.
Ismail Merchant did produce. But I would have thought he would have gotten in somewhere.
He got nominated much times for directing.
Yeah, and he didn't always write. Like, he didn't write Remains of the Day. I don't think he wrote Howard's End.
Ruth, what's her name? There are other partners.
Yeah.
There's 3 of them, yeah.
So I think this is
yeah.
going to be Call Me by Your Name, and it's going to be nice to see this guy who's made great films for so many years.
Who literally created a genre.
Yeah.
You know, and go back, by the way, if you guys... Merchant Ivory, before they started making like these period pieces, James Ivory had graduated from film school and was like, I need to make movies. The field here is crowded, and he moved to India, and he started making, and he hooked up with Ismail Merchant and Ruth, and I can't remember her last name as a writer, and his first several movies he made in India with American actors, and Shakespeare Walla, Bombay Talkie, some of these movies are fantastic, and then they kind of made their way back to England and started making the Merchant Ivory films. But and Criterion has a collection of the early Merchant Ivory films, and they're fantastic. Really cool stuff.
I also love, though, that The Disaster Artist is nominated here.
Yeah, but
Because I think it's a good... I think this is actually a very weak category this year.
Yeah.
You know, movies that... I think Disaster Artist is deserving of a nomination, but it's not the kind of movie usually gets in here.
Right.
Same thing with Logan. Molly's Game is there because of Sorkin.
Right.
Because that's the only nomination this film got. And Mudbound, also a terrific film.
Yeah.
One of the best films of the year. Dee Reese, I'm glad she's nominated here. Terrific filmmaker. And once again, we've talked about this before, if this film got a traditional release, I think it would stand a better chance at the awards it's nominated
So the fact that Logan is nominated, I'm willing to say that next year we're going to see a nomination for Black Panther in this category for the script. It'd be adapted because it's pre-existing material.
Do you think you really?
Yeah.
I like Black Panther a lot. There's no award I would give it right now.
You don't think so?
No.
Cinematography?
No. I think Black Panther is great, but it's not. It's just like, I mean, Wonder Woman was great, but honestly, I know people are like, Wonder Woman been nominated for some stuff. What? I rewatched it. No, I don't think the effects in Wonder Woman are that good.
Okay.
I'll say that. I think the movie's great. Wonder Woman is that film that if it had gotten a Best Picture nomination, I would have been happy. Yeah. But if it got anything else, I would have been like, really?
Sound mixing.
Okay, maybe sound mixing.
But not sound editing. Fuck those people.
I think it's a movie that's much greater than the sum of its parts.
Okay.
And I think Black Panther, I'll probably end up feeling the same way about. I don't like the aesthetic of those DC films, I think is my problem.
Okay, fair enough.
Where Marvel, I feel they feel a little more real. Original screenplay. And this is one of the most competitive categories of like, if this gets one of those extra point things in our Oscar pool, we're fucked because this could go many different ways. The nominees are The Big Sick, Get Out, Lady Bird, The Shape of Water, 3 Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri. Let's immediately take Shape of Water off the list. Shape of Water got 13 nominations. Yeah. I don't know how many.
Good on you, Shape of Water.
But it's not winning screenplay.
No.
This is one. When I walked out of The Big Sick, I said, this is going to win screenplay because you like the story. It's written by Camille Nanjiani and Emily V. Gordon, and it's about them. But no,
it's too strong of a year. In a different year, this may have won the Little Miss Sunshine Prize in a different year.
So I think it's legitimately down to 3 films here. And I was going back and forth about 2, but lately I'm hearing a lot of 3 Billboards talk. Because Martin McDonagh didn't get the director nomination, a lot of people are like, oh, he should get something for this movie.
That's not how that works.
But that's how some people think when they're going down the ballot. Because early on I said, this has got to be between Lady Bird and Get Out. But then there's the other theory that the people who would vote for Lady Bird are the same people who vote for Get Out and vice versa. They cancel each other out. 3 Billboards gets in.
I think between the Lady Bird and the Get Out people, I think there's more Get Out people.
I do too.
And I think if Get Out wins this category, I think it puts a lot of heat behind its Best Picture chances.
Well, let's talk about this. Jump ahead a little bit here because
this 3 Billboards thing is really throwing me because it's like a a cuckoo's egg of like a movie, you know?
Yeah.
It's like this plant that's put in the nest and it's going to hatch and eat everything. And it's like, it looks like all the other eggs, but it's not good. It's going to kill you. I enjoyed watching the movie, but like the more I think about it, the more I read about it, I'm like, oh, this thing is just like engineered to win these awards, but it shouldn't, because there's so much more. In 5 years from now, we talk about 3 billboards outside Ebbing, Missouri. The only reason we'll be talking about it is because we're going to start seeing red billboards popping up everywhere from the movie as like an homage to it.
Yeah, I don't think 3 Billboards is the kind of film that's going to stand the test of time like I think Get Out
Like
and
The
Lady
Artist.
Bird. Well, I like The Artist.
That's fine. Just calm down, The Artist.
I mean,
Or Birdman.
I'm not big on Birdman. And Birdman's a movie that I soured on like 24 hours later.
I showered on it as we watched it.
You did. And I was too enthralled by the visuals, and I think the camera work and the acting in Birdman is terrific.
The experience of watching that movie is very overwhelming.
Yes. Yeah. I think 3 Billboards is actually a better movie than that.
Fine.
But
at least it's more coherent.
Here's the thing. If Get Out or Lady Bird is going to win Best Picture, if one of those has a chance at Best Picture, it's hard not to pick them to win nothing else. I mean, it's with a preferential battle for Best Picture, eventually something might win with no other awards.
Right.
But I wouldn't bet on that yet. You know, that hasn't happened since Grand Hotel, which they didn't have a preferential ballot then.
They didn't have a lot of things back then. I don't think women had the right to vote back then.
So I feel like I have to pick Get Out or Lady Bird to win something at these Oscars.
No, but Mark McDonough, got to give him something. Poor white man didn't get a Best Director nomination.
So I'm going to go with Get Out, and I think you're right. I think it might be a little bit better of a screenplay, too, because it's got all this great setup and payoff that plays really well.
And a year later, people are still thinking about it, and it's still on the conscience, and it's been in the conversation. It's also, because it came out a year ago, it started to cement, and people realized, wow, this has legs. Like, this is actually bolting itself into the conversation and into our world in a way that even Moonlight didn't, because Moonlight kind of came out late and had this push and this run and got a lot of heat behind it.
The other thing that helps Get Out, it's been airing on HBO constantly.
Yeah. It's on net. It's online.
Blumhouse has really been. You know, my father was telling me the cover of the New York Daily News. They paid for an ad, like to go around the whole paper. You know, they're really pushing Get Out.
3 Billboards, like you said, is an actor's. I think it's going to pick up. It's going to get its acting awards because it's showy, but that doesn't mean it's going to get like the writing. I'd like to think the voters are a little smarter.
Yeah, and I also think that if both Get Out and Lady Bird. And is right now, I think Lady Bird's going to go home empty-handed. But if both of them go home empty-handed, it's like, what the fuck was going on? And I do think there are enough socially conscious Oscar voters who are going to be like, well, we got to give it something. And I think this is where, because they're not giving either of these films Best Director. They might give one of them Picture, but I think they go down the ballot and they're like, we got to give Get Out something. Let's give Jordan Peele screenplay.
And the last thing about Lady Bird is, it's a wonderful movie, but it suffers from an over-identification between Greta Gerwig and the subject of the movie, that it's about a girl growing up in Sacramento in the early 2000s, just like Greta Gerwig. Clearly, there's nothing written here. She just mined her own life, to create this coming-of-age story. There's a little bit of the sense of, like, you didn't create anything. You didn't write anything. This was your story, and you just kind of organized it.
That's
it's not a fair.
That's not a fair criticism.
But that's a way you can look at it, or
and I can see some people lazily looking at it that way. Honestly, Lady Bird's my favorite of the nominated movies. But you know what? I say that, but I've watched Get Out a couple of times since, and when I say Lady Bird's my favorite of the nominated films. If that's true, Get Out is a fraction below it. Get Out, by the way, which you and I saw on the day of the last Oscars. That's how long this film's been around.
I'm going to say Get Out.
I'm going to say Get Out also. Yeah. Have we disagreed on anything?
No.
Are we going to?
Maybe.
Okay. Cinematography.
Please. Yeah.
Nominees are Blade Runner 2049, Darkest Hour, Dunkirk, Mudbound, The Shape of Water. This is one of the awards that I'm
overly invested in.
Yeah, and I wonder if I'm too invested in. I wonder if I'm not thinking logically. I'm going with Blade Runner. I'm going with Roger Deakins. 14th time is the charm.
Yeah, that's what they say.
He's been nominated. This is
It's the Baker's
14th,
dozen plus one.
This has been nominated 13 times. He's lost 13 times.
And for good movies.
That's the thing. He once was nominated twice. Yeah. He was nominated for both No Country and The Assassination of Jesse James in the same year, and he lost to Robert Entwistle.
And for There Will Be Blood.
There Will Be Blood. So I'm looking at this, and who can he lose
Hoyt
to
van
here?
Huystema from Dunkirk.
From Dunkirk. And here's the thing. Dunkirk looks fucking amazing. It's hard to argue against him winning for Dunkirk, except for the fact that it's Roger
See, I don't think
Deakins.
that's... I thought you were going to go the other way. I thought that this is where Shape of Water starts picking up awards leading towards that Best Director win that we know is on the table.
Well, that's the thing with Shape of Water, because it does have the most nominations.
It's a very beautiful movie.
And that's the other thing. It's a visual, like, you get the style of that film.
And Blade Runner 2049 didn't have any style. The only thing working against Blade Runner 2049 is it's long, it's ponderous, and I don't know how many voters actually watched it.
And I don't think it's that good.
No. Although I did see it twice in the theaters.
I've seen Shape of Water twice in the theaters. And what I guess I mean by the style is I feel like Blade Runner has a lot of style, but I feel like Shape of Water... It feels like this fairy tale style. Yeah. It has this, which everything's coming together in an interesting way. And it already has a bunch of craft award nominations, where Blade Runner, I think, only has below the line 3.
Yeah, but cinematography
4.
But this award can exist in a vacuum. It doesn't,
Well, that's what I'm hoping.
So it either goes one of two ways. It just is a thing that exists in a vacuum for a movie, or it's part of like a wave of technical awards for a movie.
Is it The Shape of Water because it's a more popular film? Does it just get caught up with that?
We should also mention Rachel Morrison, first female ever nominated for Best Cinematography, who also just shot Black Panther.
And Mudbound, I watched Mudbound on my television through Netflix. And
Stupidly.
I was so angry because it looks so good. I'm so glad she is nominated.
Yeah.
But you got to go Deakins. I mean, I got to go Deakins here. Yeah. Are you going Shape of Water?
No, but I wouldn't be shocked if Shape of Water won. That being said, I do reserve the right on Oscar night to actually pick Shape of Water because I'm trying to win your money.
Yeah, here's the thing. This is one of those things, if I don't bet on Deakins and he wins and I lose my Oscar pool because I didn't bet on him, I could handle losing with him more than I could handle losing without him, if that makes sense. He's the greatest cinematographer of our time. Okay. I think.
Okay, I'll give you that.
And he's never won an Oscar. The other thing is these below the line awards, they don't put the people's name on the ballot when you vote.
Oh.
So it's like, do they know Deakins shot? But I mean, that's got to be a narrative that people
I don't know.
Get, right?
But they do in the trades and all the ads, but I don't know.
These voters don't know shit.
It's going to be Shape of Water, isn't it? Who even shot that? It's is it it's not Lubietsky, is it Rodrigo Prieto?
That sounds it's not Lubietsky.
Hold on, I'll tell you. It's not Lubietsky Shape because Del Toro doesn't usually use Lubietsky. He
the other Mexicans
cabrons. It was Dan Laustsen. Hold on. What else has he shot? Oh, he did Crimson Peak. Let's see here. Hold on. Proud Mary, Shape of Water. John Wick 2. Crimson Peak. I'm just scrolling through here. Solomon Kane, Delivers from Evil. Silent Hill, Nomad. I don't know. League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. Ooh. So this guy's just been working for a long time.
It's a real workman cinematographer.
Yeah, it looks like he got hooked up with Del Toro for Crimson Peak. And yeah, they did this. John Wick 2. Okay.
Moving on. Original score.
Yes.
Dunkirk. Phantom Thread. The Shape of Water. Star Wars The Last Jedi. 3 Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri.
Now, did Olaf... What's his name? No, Gustav Gustafsson. He didn't do the composer who just died.
No,
Who did Arrival?
yeah, no.
Oh, Johan
Johansson.
Okay, so had he been nominated, that would have thrown this whole thing into a tizzy.
I think it's going to be Shape of Water. I think that Alexander Desplat's score, it's the one that sticks in my head the most. I think it's so charming. It goes along with the tone of that film. I mean, it's almost like, something that Amelie or something. It's almost
disagree.
out of the French film.
I think it's going to be The Phantom Thread because when you think about that movie, the music in that movie is so much of a part of it, and it's so all-pervasive and impressive. I think The Phantom Thread, I think Johnny Greenwood.
I think you're drinking the Phantom Thread Kool-Aid on this one.
I don't know.
I think people don't. I'm actually even surprised it's nominated, even though I think it should be.
I think it's going to be Phantom Thread.
I think it's a great score, but I think it's also one of those scores that, there's classical music. I think people can't discern what he's done to the classical music in it. I don't think it. That's true. They probably know they heard something good, but I think it doesn't. If I played somebody the score for Phantom Thread, I don't know if they'd be able to identify it. I think they might be able to identify Shape of Water. And I don't even know if that matters.
I do want to say, though, that I know everyone shits on John Williams because he's been nominated more times than any human being. I think his Last Jedi score is fantastic.
I think what he's done with these new Star Wars films, with Force Awakens, the Rey's theme that he did for Force Awakens, he's done some great stuff.
And we've gotten to the point where he's been so good for so long that we take him for granted, and that's a shame. But he's done his Last Jedi score is pretty phenomenal.
Does the Dunkirk score have that? That's also kind of memorable because it's that ticking clock. I mean, that score really helps ratchet up that tension. And I can't think of a moment in that film that doesn't have score behind it.
I feel like people maybe got a little wised up to Christopher Nolan's music games after they gave it to Hans Zimmer for The Gong and Inception.
Boom.
Yeah.
So you're going Phantom Thread. I'm going Shape of Water.
Also, Desplat's won before?
I don't believe so.
I don't. Also, it's Johnny Greenwood from Radiohead. They gave it to Trent Reznor for The Social Network.
Yeah, they didn't even nominate Johnny Green. They disqualified him for past scores.
Yeah, so hold on.
And also, Johnny Greenwood's great, but Trent Reznor is a little more well-known than Johnny Greenwood.
People know who Johnny Greenwood is. Hold on, what are we looking at here? Desplat.
I don't think Desplat's ever
I know he's
won
won Golden Globes. Hold on.
He won a Golden Globe this year.
Yep, okay, awards. All right, go on to the next category.
Okay. Next category, also music-related.
Yeah, he went for Grand Budapest Hotel.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, and he's been nominated a lot of times. He's been nominated for The Queen, Benjamin Button, Fantastic.
Well, I knew he had a ton of nominations behind him. I guess I forgot he won for
2015 for Grand Budapest Hotel.
Yeah, you know what? These voters, they forgot that also.
Yeah. They forgot the score for The Imitation Game. Who could forget that? Everyone.
Original song.
Okay.
Mighty River from Mudbound. The Mystery of Love, Call Me By Your Name.
Is that Sufjan Stevens?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Remember Me, Coco. Stand Up for Something from Marshall.
Okay.
And This Is Me from The Greatest Showman.
We know what this is going to be.
Do we?
Coco.
Are we sure about that?
It's an earworm. I mean, you see Coco once, you remember me. I can't remember the song from, Call Me By Your Name.
No, I can't either. But I remember when it played in the movie. It's over the end credits.
Yeah.
Watching him cry.
Yeah.
Mary J.
Spoiler
Blige. Yeah. Mary J. Blige nominated for both an acting category and for song with Mighty River.
Barbra Streisand's Eating Her Heart Out.
Do you think that helps Mighty River at all? Which is a song I couldn't tell you what it is, and I saw that movie.
I think people love that.
Here's the thing: you didn't see The Greatest Showman.
Yeah.
Greatest Showman was a box office success. It's kind of very slowly like, oh, this movie is stuck around.
It's got legs, yeah.
This Is Me is also an earworm. If there's anything in that movie that's an earworm, it's This Is Me. And I think I'm going with Remember Me because I don't want to bet against Pixar, and also the emotions behind what that song means in Coco.
Yeah.
I think everyone's so moved by, which is why
also,
I think I'll win.
Mexicans.
So it's going to be a big night for Mexicans. There have been a lot lot of big nights for Mexicans at the Oscars, though.
Yeah, these three Mexicans have been coming and fucking up our best director pool for years now.
But I would not be shocked if This Is Me wins, because I think that is a song that people do know. I think that's a song that people might even listen to, anyone who liked The Greatest Showman.
Okay.
So
Dark Horse, Greatest Showman, but we're leaning towards Coco.
Actor in a leading role.
Peter O'Toole.
And the nominees are...
Ben Kingsley.
Nominees are Timothy Chalamet. And let me talk about this before we get into this deeper. I got a real problem with this kid's name.
Timothy.
Because he insists it's pronounced Timothy.
Yeah.
But it is spelled Timothée. Like the way you and I are saying it is the way that you would spell.
And Dad's French, and it's the French spelling.
But he says it's Timothy
because he wants to be likable and easy. He doesn't want to be that guy like, actually, it's Timothy. Nah, kid's playing the game. He says it's Timothy because that'll get him love. He's not fucking around with some foreigner name. Some French name.
The way everybody loves Timothée Chalamet.
Timothée Chalamet, come on.
Is like, it's a little like, let's calm down.
Wait, the name of the kid?
The kid.
This kid's gonna have a long career.
I think he's great, but
in multiple best picture nominees.
It's that annoying like fangirl thing that's driving me a little crazy on Twitter.
Okay,
but
it's like young Leo.
Yes.
Oh,
it is like young Leo. Got to do his
Titanic. Oh, you know what? Challenger, the movie. He plays a dashing young astronaut that's in love with a school teacher. Or he's a poor gutter trash that ends up on the spaceship.
I will
watch.
I think he's a great actor, but yeah, there's a young Leo thing, and the young Leo didn't bother me probably because I was young at the time. But now being older, I'm like, meh.
Gilbert Grape, go fuck yourself.
Timothée Chalamet, Call Me by Your Name. Daniel Day-Lewis, Phantom Thread.
Yes.
Daniel Kaluuya, Get Out. Gary Oldman, Darkest Hour. Denzel Washington, Roman J. Israel Esquire.
Which was a movie that apparently was written, produced, directed, and released last year. And I think you're the only one that saw it, and you saw it for free.
And by the way, actually, Denzel is great in that movie, and he's doing things that you don't typically see Denzel doing.
Juggling?
The problem is, the movie is not very good.
And this poor Denzel... He thought he had in the bag for Fences last year, and now he's got to do the whole fucking awards circuit again. And for a movie he has no chance of winning, and I doubt he wants anything to do with this.
Another person just happy to be there, but I'm so happy he's there, is Daniel Kaluuya.
Yeah.
Because Get Out is such a great film, and he's a big part of that. He's the lead. He's in...
Now, are there any other performances that you think should have gotten nominated that weren't in this category? Any of the white boys from Dunkirk?
You know what? It's not a popular thing to say maybe, but James Franco, Disaster Artist.
Okay.
I would have nominated him over Denzel, probably.
What about Casey Affleck as the Ghost?
No.
Did you see that? That was
a
fantastic movie, actually.
I would have nominated Franco if I were doing this. I would have swapped him out for Denzel just because of the strength of the movie.
Now, so I haven't seen Darkest Hour yet.
Are you gonna see it before then? Nah. It's a good movie. I mean, it's not. It's nominated for Best Picture.
This is my understanding of Darkest Hour. Britain, Nazis, or Hitler.
I mean, admittedly, maybe I like it. Like, I'm not saying it's a great movie, but it's a solid movie with a great performance. And admittedly, maybe I like it a little bit more because I saw it about a month after going to the Churchill War Rooms. So I had Churchill on the brain. So all you do is
fly to London, go visit the War Rooms. I would love to see Daniel Day-Lewis win his 4th Best Actor Oscar for this. I'm still pulling for it. I still think there's a chance in hell.
Which would tie him with the most acting Oscars ever with Katharine Hepburn.
Yes, and fucking deserves it. He created, in Reynolds J. Woodcock, an iconic cinematic character.
If Daniel Day-Lewis won, it would be deserving. He's brilliant in the movie. Gary Oldman is fucking great as Churchill, though. And it's not just like it's not a makeup role. Like, he's never won. And I know you're not supposed to do the, well, he's never won, so we should give it to him. But if he wins this, it's not that. It's an earned performance. There's a lot of nuance he brings. There's a lot of life behind those eyes.
Daniel Day-Lewis has a number of sons that must be fed. He doesn't, he needs the gold.
But let's face it, I think the biggest... Again, Gary Oldman's won everything. All these acting awards have gone down the line, so I feel like it's crazy to bet against any of these people.
But I fucking want Daniel.
But if anyone's gonna beat Gary Oldman, isn't it gonna be Timothée?
No, I think it'd be. I mean, would it? No, I don't think so.
Of course it'd be.
You know, I know people are looking to be like, "Welcome to the club, kid. You don't worry, we'll get you."
They didn't do that with Adrian Brody.
We've been reaping the sorrow of that ever since. But how old was Adrian Brody? 28.
Yeah,
this kid's like 20.
He's like 20, I think he's 20.
Yeah, even Adrian Brody was 28. So like, so I heard I was listening to an NPR podcast, and they came up with an interesting suggestion. They said instead of having Best Actor, Best Actress, they should split the major acting categories into original character and adapted character almost. So you would have all the people playing real life people will be going up against each other, and all the people, and it's not male female in this way. Do
you actually like that idea?
I think it's interesting.
I think it's interesting. I don't think it's good. Here's the thing. Also, and I've heard talk about like, well, why should there be an actor? I think I understand.
Shouldn't the best performance win, Will?
I think that. Well, you know what?
We should start splitting it by race, too. There should be Best African-American Actor, Best Asian
but here's the thing.
Everyone gets a trophy.
And I know a lot of people have argued for this because of the, because it's, yes, men and women are completely equal, and maybe we should have them go up against each other. But the problem is...
I want to see Gary Oldman play more.
I like that more people are getting honored, more people are getting knowledge, and we also have had a problem in the past... and we still do. I don't think we do this year, though, where a lot of times then then if women aren't winning, then it's going to become a problem. And then it's going to, I don't know. They're also different because there haven't always been great roles for women. This year, the actresses are far stronger. This would be the year that the woman would beat the man in the overall performance thing, I think. Yeah. Look, I'm going with Gary Oldman.
I am too, but I really am begrudging. I want Daniel Day-Lewis to win.
So, actress in a leading role. And this is, I think, is like a fucking murderer's row. This is the people who didn't make the cut are almost just as good, if not. I mean, Jessica Chastain, Emma Stone, Michelle Williams, they all gave great performances this year. They're not. Judi Dench.
Wait, what was Emma Stone in?
Battle of the Sexes. She's excellent in it. I actually think she's better in it than she is in La La Land.
Okay.
But this year, you got Sally Hawkins, The Shape of Water, Frances McDormand, 3 Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri, Margot Robbie, I, Tonya, Saoirse Ronan, Lady Bird, Meryl Streep, The Post. Honestly, I wish all of them could win. They all are so fucking good.
So we're saying that Frances McDormand's going to win this.
Yeah.
But do we think Saoirse's got a chance?
If anyone's going to upset her, I think it's Saoirse because one, she's she's Lady Bird.
Yeah.
The movie is her. And two, Brie Larson, Emma Stone, Jennifer Lawrence, ingenues tend to win this.
And she's also been she's been putting in the work, and she's been giving nothing but one amazing performance after another.
It's her third nomination.
Yeah, and she's it's not like she's out of nowhere, and Frances McDormand, the problem as far as this goes, she doesn't play the game. She doesn't give a shit, Yeah. And maybe there's a little backlash, like, They're thinking about the angry, dismissive speech she's going to give.
But that's what I think. I mean, in this moment, I think they want the woman who's going to get up there and tell it like it is. And it's not going to be Meryl Streep.
I don't know. I'll be shocked if she shows up. We got a telegram from Frances McDormand.
But look, she's gone to all of these things. She goes to collect her awards.
Yeah.
And she goes when she's nominated. But
Joel hold it.
And look, Frances McDormand's great in 3 Billboards. I think the acting awards are going to be 3 Billboards awards, and it's going to be her and Rockwell. And I can't, for any quibbles you might have with Three Billboards, none of them are with her. And anyone who's got the problems with Three Billboards, it's with the Rockwell character. It's not with her.
It's with the mysterious hot Australian wife he has that's 30 years younger than him, living in Ebbings, Missouri.
Sally Hawkins, I think, is great in The Shape of Water. I saw Shape of Water a second time recently. She's really perfect in it. And like the romance on the second time through and what it means for her character and what she does in that film was even more beautiful to me. And mutes have a history of winning this award.
She's not actually mute. Well, I know Holly Hunter.
Holly Hunter.
Children of a Lesser God.
Yeah.
Marlene Matlin. And, okay. Are there any other mute performances?
Patty Duke.
Oh, what about Helen Keller?
That's what I'm saying.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah. But I don't know. Frances seems so far ahead. Margot Robbie, I guess. I mean, Margot Robbie's my personal favorite, but she's just happy to be there.
Yeah.
This is a very important that she got nominated because I think this is going to set her career off in a different direction too, like Charlize Theron with Monster. And Meryl Streep is great in The Post, but it's Frances.
Yeah.
Director. And the nominees are Paul Thomas Anderson, Phantom Thread; Guillermo del Toro, The Shape of Water; Greta Gerwig, Lady Bird; Christopher Nolan, Dunkirk; Jordan Peele, Get Out.
Another murderer's row here.
This is really great, and this is really hard because to me you have arguably three filmmaking geniuses. Certainly, I would call two of them geniuses. And
okay, which one wouldn't you call a genius?
Okay. It's like, do we have to reserve? This
is
becomes
Guillermo del Toro a genius?
Yeah, it's like he's a brilliant filmmaker, but sometimes I think we have to reserve the word genius for I think Nolan kind of is, and P.T. Anderson is definitely. Yeah. P.T. Anderson might be the best filmmaker of his generation.
He won the war against the Tarantinos and the Kevin Smiths.
Also, P.T. Anderson is certainly not winning this award.
I wish nothing would make me happier.
And I don't think Nolan is either. I assume Del Toro is going to. Because, look, his film got 13 nominations for a reason.
Yeah.
And
for fish fucking.
Yeah, because of all these below the line things that they're going to give him overall credit for, and the performance. That's what's great about this movie. It got so many below the line, but also all the actors are so good, and Del Toro deservedly is going to get the credit for that.
And, we talk about this every year. This award has been tilting more towards a technical achievement award rather than what it should be, which is more of a holistic. It's the counterpoint to the role of the producer is getting this thing made. It's a total vision. It's not just how technically impressive was the movie, but and honestly, for me, if I had to choose, it would really be between, as far as totality of vision and execution, it would be between Jordan Peele and P.T. Anderson. Now,
this is the other thing about this award, because I said there are arguably three geniuses, and then there are two great stars on the rise who I'm excited for their next films, in Greta Gerwig and Jordan Peele.
Problem is their movies are small, quote unquote.
Jordan Peele, only the fifth black filmmaker nominated for this award.
Spike Lee being the other four.
Spike Lee's never been nominated for Best Director.
Never?
Nope.
Not even for The Miracle at Anna's Bridge or whatever the fuck it was
that
called?
That movie was not good.
Miracle
no, but not for Malcolm X, not for Do the Right Thing.
So Barry Jenkins.
Steve
McQueen.
Yeah, Steve McQueen.
Richard Pryor. Hold on. And we're talking recent, right?
One of them was a while ago. No,
Denzel. Okay, a while ago. Fuck, I don't know who the other ones.
Lee Daniels.
Oh, right.
Precious.
Okay.
And the first black man nominated, John Singleton for Boys in the Hood.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
What's interesting there is
not Too Fast, Too Furious.
No. And I keep saying black and not African American because Steve McQueen is not American.
No.
Greta Gerwig, the fifth woman nominated. Do you want to play this game again?
Well, we got Sofia Coppola.
Yeah.
We got Black Hawk Down.
Nope, that's not Black Hawk Down. You're thinking of Hurt Locker.
Hurt Locker, Catherine Bigelow.
Yeah.
What the hell's her name? The European director who directed like Swept Away, Lena Wertmuller.
Yep.
Oh, pulled out the Wertmuller.
And you got one more.
I got one more, and Barbara Streisand. From
No.
Prince of Tides.
Nope. She wasn't nominated.
What?
Nope.
This is fuckery. Oh, Jane Campion.
Yep. Jane Campion for the piano. Oh, yeah, good.
Check me out. Yeah, I want to see you pull out Wertmuller out of your ass.
That was good. That was the one I wasn't sure you were going to get. And that was back in the 70s.
I
She was
know
the
my
first.
Wertmullers.
Does Greta Gerwig have a chance at upsetting us because we're in this Me Too moment?
No. I think everyone is looking at her and saying, this was fantastic. You'll be back, which means we won't see her again for 15 years.
I mean...
Just like John Singleton, they're like, awesome, wait, you got a whole career ahead of you, and then...
So now we're getting a Best Picture, and this is what's killing me, because...
You had to buy a new bed because you've been stressing about this so much.
Here are the nominees. Call Me By Your Name, Darkest Hour, Dunkirk, Get Out, Lady Bird, Phantom Thread, The Post, The Shape of Water, 3 Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri. Now, when these nominations first came out, I said, well, Call Me By Your Name, no. Darkest Hour, no. Phantom Thread, no. Post, no. Those, if this were back to the times of 5 movies, I think they would have been Dunkirk, Get Out, Lady Bird, Shape of Water, 3 Billboards. Dunkirk's not winning Best Picture. Even though there's been this late surge where I've heard a lot of people talking about it because it's like, the war film and it's a big scum. But Dunkirk's not winning it. I was very high on Lady Bird and the idea of it winning for a long time because I thought it fits right into the Moonlight kind of thing.
Yeah.
Where it's going to do very well. Best Picture is the only preferential ballot. Lady Bird, everyone likes it. Most well-reviewed film. Everyone's going to rank it 2 or 3 on their ballot. But I was having a couple problems. One, the problem of I'm not picking it to win anything else, which is kind of a precedent.
Right.
And it just seems to have lost some steam.
Yeah.
Which brings us to 3 films. And I think they're the 3 we're both thinking of. Shape of Water, 3 Billboards,
Phantom
Get
Thread.
Out.
I'm still pulling for Phantom Thread.
It's not winning.
I'm yanking on my Phantom Thread.
All these movies have big things against it. 3 Billboards doesn't have a director nomination.
Right.
Which you tend to need, but Argo didn't.
It's true.
And Argo won.
But Argo was also a movie about Hollywood. And also, the voting block, we have to keep in mind how much the voting body of the Academy, even in the last couple of years, has shifted and they've really been more inclusive. That Argo win was with an older, stodgier, whiter crew.
Shape of Water
is
on the same trajectory La La Land was. Didn't get the SAG nomination. Last film to win without a SAG nomination is Braveheart. So that's a little, it's, actors' biggest voting body. La La Land didn't get the SAG nomination, but Shape of Water won PGA. It just won it.
You know what? I think the fact that voting has just opened up, I think there's been a little bit of Shape of Water backlash too. People are like, okay, it's a pretty movie, it's well made, but it's a fish fucking movie. I think there's a little bit of that.
Well, I think La La Land had a little bit of the same problem last year when the voting started. They're like, it's good. It's not 14 nominations good. And I wonder if people might say the same thing in Shape of Water.
Yeah.
Where 3 Billboards won at SAG.
Well, because it is an actor's movie.
It won at BAFTA.
Brits don't know what they're doing. They just want to...
And it won Golden Globe.
Also,
which I know
foreigners. There's a lot of foreigners are thrown at me here.
Well, that's the thing. I wonder if 3 Billboards, where the whole is 3 Billboards racist, which I think is a little bit harsh.
Got a very scathing Wesley Morris write-up in the New York Times.
That's not getting traction overseas where it wins BAFTA and wins all these other things.
Because to them, that seems like, yes, this is America, where the cops just go in and beat people up in printing presses, and that's kind of how it is.
Which brings us to Get Out.
Yeah.
Which we've already talked about why this film has hung around so long. Get Out, the things against Get Out winning are it hasn't won. It won. Well, the Guild Awards it did win are interesting because It won WGA.
Yeah.
And it didn't win DGA. Guillermo del Toro did.
Right.
But he did win Best First Feature at DGA. It doesn't have an editing nomination.
Because it's not a movie that you think...
I thought it was going to get an editing nomination.
Wait, who are the editing nominees?
The editing nominees are Baby Driver, Dunkirk, I, Tonya, The Shape of Water, 3 Billboards. And the only reason I say that is it's very rare that a film... Editing is like one of those Editing is one of those awards that shows it has some below-the-line support. Right. Moonlight had an editing nomination. Get Out has no below-the-lines. It doesn't have cinematography. It doesn't have editing. There's no below-the-line support.
The fact that this movie is so good on a $4 million budget with a first-time director,
It's also the highest grossing, I believe, of any of these nominees. Is that true? I don't know if that's true anymore. Dunkirk made a lot of money, too. I got to look into that. But I think it's the highest grossing of the nominees.
And I still think if Get Out wins that best screenplay, I think it's got a solid chance of winning here. The only backlash, we haven't talked about this, and this is like going into Shittyville here. Oh, we did the black thing last year with Moonlight.
Yeah, that's what I'm worried about, too.
The climate has shifted a little bit even since then. Like, this last year has been so crazy.
I honestly wonder if the bigger thing is... Isn't this a horror film? We can't give it to some genre film.
It's not a horror film. It's not a horror film.
Well, it is and it isn't. It's a horror film.
Anyone who sees it doesn't think it's a horror, You could say this is a genre movie.
Well, that's the thing. In these, I wonder if there's some snob backlash because of that. I would be thrilled if it won. And I'm actually picking it to win. Yeah. Because I don't think there's enough snob backlash. If anything, I think there's enough...
preferential voting that could push it over the edge.
Exactly, because you're not going to vote. And that's why how Moonlight won last year. It was everyone's 2 or 3. I think Get Out is going to be the same thing. Because I think everybody likes his movie. And, I was talking about, like, my mother liked Get Out. Yeah. It's another film that I think people across the board like. Yeah. Maybe even more so than Lady Bird.
Yes, I think so. I agree with you there.
So, No Guts, No Glory... I'm going out on a limb here and picking Get Out to win, and only to win 2 awards, that and screenplay.
Okay. Weird things have happened.
So what are you picking?
Picking Get Out.
Look at that.
I'm picking Get Out. I mean, I would love Phantom Thread to win all the awards, but Get Out. I told you, those 2 movies, we talked about this in the best of the year. Those 2 movies for me are the yin and yang of everything good that's going on in movie making right now.
Are we crazy not picking Shape of Water? 13 nominations.
Yeah, because La La Land didn't win last year with 14 nominations. Like you said, the preferential ballot could push it over the top.
You see, the films with the most nominations don't seem to win anymore. The Revenant, lost the Spotlight.
Yeah, what did Spotlight just won? Screenplay and picture.
Yep, that's it.
So it could happen.
I'm worried that there's no below-the-line support, though, because Spotlight did have editing nominations. It did have other nominations that Get Out doesn't have. That's a big worry to me.
Okay, well, you put your money then on Shape of Water. I'll walk away with the pot. I think you should go with Shape of Water. Go with your gut.
3 Billboards. If that wins on Oscar night, I'm not going to be shocked, but I'll be disappointed because I think it's of the 3 movies that we seem to think of win, I think it's the least inspiring choice. Yeah. Because even Shape of Water, it's such a weird, beautifully weird film to win. All right. So here's the thing. We're talking about all these people campaign for this stuff. Now, did you know, Sean, that because some unknown playwright decades ago had a story about a janitor who frees a dolphin from a science lab, that means Del Toro actually stole the idea for Shape of Water? Did you know that because one scene in the coming-of-age story Lady Bird is similar to a scene in another coming-of-age story, that Greta Gerwig is a goddamn plagiarist? Also, did you know if you even like 3 Billboards just a little bit, you're a fucking racist? Every year, these Oscar smear campaigns get worse and worse. This shit is pushed by publicists and studios, and it's all a bunch of fucking negative bullshit that we don't need in the arts. It's bad enough we live in a world of fake news where everyone has their own facts. We don't need that with our art. And that's why you, Oscar smear campaigns, are this week's enemy of the podcast. Go fuck yourself. No, Jean-Pierre Jeunet. Del Toro isn't ripping you off either, even though you claim that in one scene it's framed the same way as you framed something in Delicatessen. What are you, out of your fucking mind? Like that, did you see that?
No, but if you had said Alien Resurrection, I was ready to lose my shit.
But Jean-Pierre Jeunet, he's like, well, you see, he stole the exact shot. Well, you know what?
Is this like one of the underwater things?
No, it's like people talking in a living room. And Jean-Pierre Jeunet, guess who? You were inspired by Terry Gilliam's style. So don't get like...
The man is working on the Micmacs too. Leave him alone.
It's something, though. He can't get distribution in America for his last film.
He can't?
No.
What is it?
I can't even remember what it's called. No. I love Jeunet's stuff.
What, listen, Harvey Weinstein's got a lot of time in his hands at sex-free camp there in Phoenix. He's the one that really got...
Weinstein is responsible for all of this.
Yeah.
For better or worse.
That's how he got the King's Speech to win for Best Picture.
Shakespeare in Love.
Well, maybe... Was The Greatest Generation that great, Will?
No,
maybe D-Day, it wasn't that bad. You know what's bad? Falling in love and not being able to express yourselves on the stage. That's the real war.
So, Shape of Water has 13 nominations. I am picking it to win...
4?
Am I only picking it to win 3? That seems crazy to me.
How many did La La Land end up winning last year? Well, it got the Emma Stone win.
And it got cinematography.
And it got Damien Chazelle.
Yeah.
And it got Best Song, so it got a couple. Okay.
And score.
Right.
So it got about 5 or 6.
Yeah, but also that was the kind of movie that, because it was a musical, kind of crossed over into a bunch of different categories that, Right
now, I got Shape of Water winning director. I have it winning production design. I have it winning score. You don't, but you have it winning cinematography. No,
No, I don't. I'm sticking with
But we wouldn't be shocked if it won cinematography. How did Shape of Water not get like a makeup nomination?
Yeah, I don't know. That is weird. You know that Doug Jones is not actually a fish man, right?
Yeah, like that's a.
Did they open an open casting call for?
Or do they look at that as a costume because it's so?
Is it a costume? What was it? Just those 40s dresses and
Well, it's nominated for costume design. So we're not going to know whether they consider what Doug Jones was in a costume until we're watching it on Oscar, and they show it in the montage of like the 50s clothes or early 60s
with the
clothes.
sketches.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know who's winning Best Costume? Phantom Thread.
It is.
Yeah.
That's the only award I have it winning.
Yeah.
I have it winning costume, although it lost costume design, the guild to Shape of Water.
This is fucking stupid.
But that doesn't match up a lot.
Also,
and when you walk out of Phantom Thread, they're going to want to give it something. And you talked about when you walk out of it, it's about a fucking dressmaker. You think about
a man who is gallant for eating asparagus with oil and butter.
Is James Ivory going to be the oldest winner of all time, or will he be beaten this year by 90-year-old Agnes Varda?
By the way, I want them to fight it out. With Christopher Plummer get thrown into the scrub.
Agnes Varda is 90. He's 89. She can beat him. This could be a record for like just a few awards.
Where he holds the record for 5 minutes, yeah.
Do you think Faces Place is going to win documentary?
I think so.
I'm hearing a lot of buzz about Icarus because that's a Netflix thing.
They're pushing
so a lot of
on
people,
Netflix now, yeah.
Yeah, but I think the year they gave her the honorary Oscar, I think they're going to give her a real Oscar.
Oh, good. So an honorary winner will actually be able to make a speech.
I'm giving both. I always pick the Sound Awards the same because I assume people can't.
Don't understand.
Yeah.
So what are you giving it to?
Dunkirk.
Yeah.
And I'm giving Dunkirk editing also.
Okay.
Which I think makes sense.
Yeah.
And I think is kind of deserved.
Yeah.
Is Kobe Bryant going to win an Oscar?
Maybe. He might very well.
For Dear Basketball? I got to look into these shorts a little bit more. And Visual effects, are they finally going to give one of these 8 movies a visual effects award? I think so.
Yeah.
I think so.
Phantom Thread.
You got 2 movies involving apes because you got Kong Skull Island nominated, to which I talked to. This is a thing that we talked about this briefly off air, and we'll end on this.
Special effects.
This idea of Suicide Squad's an Oscar winner, that's a bunch of bullshit, man.
Oh, yeah. Oscar, Academy Award nominated. Transformers, The Fate of the Dark, or The Dark of the Moon.
Well, look, Suicide Squad's not a good movie, but guess what? The makeup's fucking phenomenal in it. So let's calm down about that.
And on that note,
you're dying there. But what I'm saying is Kong Skull Island, the visual effects are actually really good for this subpar movie. And Darkest Hour is going to win makeup. It doesn't matter.
Because they gave him for best jowls.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. Because it's not going to be Victoria Abdul or Wonder, the movie where we made Jacob Tremblay's face look weird.
That's the subtitle.
Yeah.
Mask 2.
So, yeah, on that note...
we'll see you all on Oscar night.
Yeah. Next week on the show...
Sam Firestein.
Yeah. He's returning. He wanted to return. What is he plugging? I don't know.
He's an entertaining guy, though.
Yeah, he'll be good. And the week after that will be the recap of the actual Oscars.
With Matt
Gorecki.
Okay,
Yeah.
from Drunk Monkeys.
Yep. He'll be back to talk.
And then the week after that, we have on, just giving you a little preview because I know we've been gone for a while, we have Becca Brown coming on. She is an actress, she's a singer, she's a comedian, and you will remember her as the bassist from the original movie School of Rock. And she was most recently in Spamilton here in Los Angeles and Culver City at the Kirk Douglas Theater.
She sounds like a heavy hitter for her.
She is. She's a big get. So we're gonna talk all things.
Sean, where can the people find you?
At the Sean David.
And I'm at The Real Will Link. And
good luck at your Oscar pools, and the opinions expressed wherein are the sole ideas and thoughts of the podcasters, and we should not be held financially or otherwise responsible for your Oscar losses. And on that note, we're finished.
We're finished.